Some choices we make have challenging consequences and force us to grow the hard way. Other choices can feel like a reward, especially after we've exercised our courage muscle as fully as possible. The rewards don't always arrive in ways we may anticipate, but rather through expansion within ourselves or in unexpected physical ways. Choosing to take a holiday to the magnificent World Heritage listed Lord Howe Island over the summer certainly felt like a reward for the many brave choices I've made over the last year or two. A couple of bumpy hours in the sky were worth it when the island came into view at last. We wasted no time after unpacking and headed off on what would become a familiar walk to the beach from our apartment. Like each of our own life paths, we can choose to stomp through blindly or walk with our senses wide open. If I was rushing and only focused on the destination, not that my tender feet would really allow that, but I would have missed the tangled roots and branches of the rainforest along the way. There was wonder along every inch of the path as the roots and branches worked with each other, creating art as only nature can. Oh, the stories these trees could tell, of storms weathered, sunshine absorbed, whispers from the earth, and footsteps tracing over the top of their roots, some unconscious and heavy, some light and grateful. The path led out onto the gorgeous and very welcoming Ned's Beach. It felt wonderful to be able to swim in the salt water again. There was a time in my life when the beach was a part of every day. Other times it was still a large part of it. But over the last decade, due to chronic pain in my feet and elsewhere, sand has usually been too difficult to walk on. My confidence in getting beyond the waves or back into shore has also disappeared through the fear of falling and being unable to get up again. But this was easy. A small stretch of sand led into the soft swish of beckoning water, instead of pounding waves menacing any entry for me. Tears of gratitude washed through my eyes, especially being able to create such memories with my daughter, instead of sitting at a distance with my heart breaking while friends have taken her into the ocean. Lord Howe Island won me over from day one. As well as a world of beauty beneath the surface, it is home to 170 breeds of birds, has no snakes, no venomous spiders, no cane toads, and no vermin. It is easy to see why it is worthy of World Heritage protection. We hired a car that enabled us to swim at other beaches in the days following, places a little far afield for me to walk to, though a person with good feet could have reached many places on foot or by bike. I was a bit hesitant to hire a bike due to some steep hills and the inability of the fused joints in my fingers and wrists to squeeze the handbrakes or steer confidently. I didn't need to become a comedy sketch and ride all the way into the ocean. I'd researched a spot that spoke of turtle spotting, We timed our swim with the right tides, and off we went. Swimming, and swimming, and swimming. It felt like miles out, but we had the enthusiasm. Swimming, and swimming, and swimming. But did we see a turtle? Not one, not even one. Although, on looking back at our photos, we thought one had snuck up on us beside my daughter. We cracked up laughing when we realised it was simply her hand distorted by the water. We headed back to shore before our energy deserted us. The high from this experience with my girl, especially not knowing a year ago if I'd ever be well enough to do such a thing with her, was a massive blessing on its own, turtle or not. We have to keep believing in dreams, even when we're so knocked down that we cannot even imagine how we'll get there. Swimming far and being so active together was indeed a dream come true. She's such a brave little thing, and so am I. Life teaches us all courage, all the time. We either embrace it or try to deny the offering. That whole swimming experience and its joy was one of the sweetest rewards for courage I've ever known. Even on holidays full of adventure, there needs to be downtime too, though. Nothing that books and chai wouldn't fix. But discovery kept calling, especially with an enthusiastic kid, a hire car, the day finishing off, and a slice of heaven to farewell it from. I hadn't realised how much I needed this holiday. Lord Howe Island truly is heaven on earth. Hiring one of the few rental cars on the island was a good move. It is an island of walking and bike riding, as I mentioned, with some locals and a few tourists driving. With restricted walking though, due to living with rheumatoid arthritis, the car enabled me to see much more than my dear feet would have allowed. But I did still enjoy gentle walks and saw more than can ever be noticed from a car, even at the slow driving speed of the island. I'd lived on Dunk Island for 2 years in my 20s, also a magnificent piece of paradise. I'd forgotten how slow and relaxing island life is. With no mobile phone reception on Lord Howe Island and limited Wi-Fi in our accommodation, it was very much a holiday of presence, connection, and restoration in a way that only nature can provide. With determination, or at least the hope of seeing a turtle in its own environment, we took a turtle tour on a glass-bottom boat. Again, I felt so grateful to be sharing this experience with my darling girl. She was ridiculously excited to see a shipwreck, or at least the wreckage of a small boat. Whenever I've snorkeled or scuba dived in the past, I am always reminded of this other glorious world that coexists with us on planet Earth. And the good news is that we did indeed see a turtle. It was resting below us. Soon after, a shark spotted us. I didn't tell my daughter until we reached the boat. Although it was only about 1 metre long and not an aggressive kind, it was still a shark that chose to hang around just a little too long. Another turtle was spotted through the glass of the boat after our swim, much to the delight of all on board. Then it was time to head back to shore. And as a last farewell, we saw yet another turtle. I can easily say this was one of my best holidays ever, and such a special time between my daughter and I. It was easy to feel grateful. Thank you for sharing your time watching this video. I wish you courage to make choices to support your joy. It's so important to leave space and take time out sometimes. Thank you, Lord Howe Island. I had no idea how much I needed to meet you.